Well, hello, God's good people. Welcome back. Back today talking to you about a topic that the Lord has inspired to share. And he gave it to me some time back. And this one's it's about finances, okay? But I'm coming from a different angle at it, just the way that God gave it to me. And this particular start in this subject of finances is the lust for money. Now, we've all learned, that money's not evil. It's the love of money that's the root to all evil, the love of it. You gotta have this money. And so in a sense, talking about the lust for money, I want to speak on what God gave me, okay? So some time back, I don't know, it's been a while, it's been some time back, and the Lord gave me a dream. And in this dream, I saw this pastor, and this pastor was in their church, and they were off to the side is where they were positioned in the church. So it let me know off to the side, they're doing other things, not just on their platform. And so off to the side, they were collecting money for these other two pastors that were in their fellowship, I'll say. I don't want to call people out and do things like that, because that's not what God gave me to do, is to call them out or to attack or to whatever, but to pray that they have a change of heart. And so that is my prayers. But I'm sharing this in order to lay the foundation for what scriptures I'm about to share that the Lord gave me to expound on with this dream. So with this dream, this pastor was off to the side, and they were asked by their associate pastors that were not pastors in their church, but outside, but yet they fellowship with these two pastors to pull in the money for them, and it was for personal gain, to show appreciation for them. It was like for their birthdays, and it was to show appreciation for them. And they knew that the particular pastor that they asked to come in and raise the money for them knew how to do it, because it's what they were trained in. And they knew that their leader person, I don't want to give titles and things like that, but they knew their leader person that had trained them was well known and knew how to pull in those funds. And so they asked, hey, can you come to our church for our special program and pull in those funds for us? And so what they were doing in the dream, the person they asked to pull in the funds and raise the offering for their personal gain, was they were using almost like the emotional strings of the people and tying it to, your seed and naming it and how it will grow. And, asking people to stand to acknowledge them giving, and speaking how it will be a blessing, sowing it and things like that. And so they were raising the funds, but God was not pleased with this, because it was manipulation. It was manipulating his people out of their funds and using what is true, you sow, you reap what you sowing money and all that. But they were tying it to what they were asked to do, which was specifically to raise funds for their fellow pastors that they associated with, off to the side. And they were asked to come in to their church and do this on the side. And God wasn't pleased with that, because really it was for their own personal gain. You know how sometimes, like way back in the day, then we would have, the pastor's appreciation service. That's what we would call it. Way back, this had to be, maybe about 40 or so years ago. And we would call it the pastor's appreciation service. And so, you raise funds to show appreciation for your pastor. Where now it's called other things in many different churches, right? And we do give honor to whom honor is due. So that part is fine. But this that the Lord was pointing out was the heart of the matter was not right. And God's not pleased with that. He's not pleased with pastors using their giftings, their anointings to either raise funds or whatever, to manipulate and pull on the heartstrings of the people for personal matters, to help raise funds for their friends or their brothers or their sisters in ministry like that, for their own personal birthday celebrations, or, as it was in his dream. God's not pleased with that. That's not what he wants the pastors to use their influence to do. It's manipulation, which is the same as witchcraft, a form of witchcraft. The scriptures that he gave me for this lust for money, is from 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter, the 2nd through the 10th verse. And I'm going to read it from the Message translation. And it's the lust for money. Oftentimes, sometimes ministries may wonder what's going on with the funds or finances. And God is saying, consider your ways. These are the things, starting with verse 2, 1 Timothy 6 chapter, 2nd through the 10th verse, Message translation. The 2nd verse says, these are the things I want you to teach and preach. If you have leaders there who teach otherwise, who refuse the solid words of our Master Jesus and this godly instruction, tag them for what they are. Ignorant windbags who infect the air with germs of envy, controversy, bad-mouthing, suspicious rumors. Eventually, there's an epidemic of backstabbing, and truth is but a distant memory. They think religion is a way to make a fast buck. A devout life, verse 6, does bring wealth, but it's the rich simplicity of being yourself before God. Since we entered the world penniless and will leave it penniless, if we have bread on the table and shoes on our feet, that's enough. Which is probably one reason why Jesus sent the disciples out when he sent them out 2 by 2 with nothing. You have what you need, right? I will provide for you. That's a whole nother spin on it, but sticking with this, verse 9. But if it's only money these leaders are after, they'll self-destruct in no time. That's what God is saying. If you continue in this path, if you're a leader that's doing these things, not every leader is. Just because every leader asks for an offering or something like that does not mean, we should be paranoid thinking that they're like this. But there are those who know what they're doing on the side and how they're manipulating and pulling the heartstrings of the people in order to bring in funds. And it's to raise funds to help out their friends, fellow friends in ministry, pastors in ministry. And it's for personal gain. It's not for funds for the church. It's for them. For whatever reason they deem it. In the dream, it was for birthday celebration. And like I said, this was a long time ago. But God is saying, if it's only money these leaders are after, they'll self-destruct in no time. Lust for money brings trouble, and nothing but trouble. Going down that path, some lose their footing in the faith completely and live to regret it bitterly ever after. So it's more of a warning. God does not want us to lust after money. And sometimes we may think we're not lusting after money because we're not, I gotta have it, and we're praying and asking God for it. But if we're doing this, where we're pulling on the heartstrings of people to help us, that's manipulation. If we are thinking, okay, the way that we can get money, let's have this service, that service, this service, doing a program every single time in order to raise the funds. And that's how we're going to get the money. And everything is money driven. That's not what God is wanting either. He said, if he be lifted up from the earth, he'll draw people to him. So sometimes, and it doesn't have to be ministries, but because the Lord showed me the dream when he tagged this, that's why I'm going in this direction, just obeying God. And I don't want to deviate from that to try and pretty it up, butter it up, or whatever. I just want to stick with how he gave it to me. And because I have to give an account to God for what I do. Okay. And I want to deliver it in a heart of love, but at the same time, the heart of God. He does not want his people who say we represent him, and those whom he has placed over his sheep to manipulate the people, to try and deceive the people, even when you don't even think that you're doing it. The best thing for us all to do is to ask God his opinion about what we're doing and be willing to receive his answer and his correction. Who wants to walk under the judgment of God for disobedience and for hearing what he has to say and discounting it, maybe because, I don't know, maybe I'm not in the media spotlight, I'm not on a platform, or here's the thing, not only will you hear it here, but I believe because God is speaking, it's something that he's already dealt with you about. Because when God brings a word and makes it public, it's confirmation of what he's already dealt with you about. So my prayer is that you not only hear what God says, but obey, change, and submit. He says if his people who are called by his name would humble themselves and pray and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways. So there are things that we do that are evil in his sight, that are wicked, that he considers wicked. And manipulating his people, pride, selfish acts, and gain like that, that's not something that please God. And it hinders our blessings, and it hinders actually the very thing you're lusting after, the money. It hinders cash flow in your life, the right cash flow, the blessing of the Lord that make rich, that you don't have to work hard like that for. Okay, so still be blessed. I pray that you're encouraged by this word. And I pray those of us that are not doing that we will not judge those who we see are, but instead we will come together as a body and we will sincerely pray for these people, but also not participate when we see this going on, and allow God to deal with his children. We still need to honor those in authority. We still need to respect those in authority, because we have to give an account too for how we treat God's people, just like how David did Saul, King Saul in the Bible. He wouldn't put a hand on him, and he wouldn't allow any of his people to put a hand on him either. So be blessed, be encouraged, hear from God for yourself. And I will continue the next topic, and it will also be on finances. And God is just hitting some things, and I'm just obeying. Y'all be blessed. Love you. Bye.